Okay, yeah, so come down and lie on your backs. When you're lying down on your backs, I want you to take your hands. So start with the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and then just take your hands and find the kind of the sits bones at the top of the thighs, and then the fleshy bit of your glutes. And I just want you to draw that fleshy bit of the glutes down towards your ankles and your heels. So you're just lengthening that sacral area that's in connection with the mat. And then you can either keep the knees bent and drop them in towards each other, widen the feet in constructive rest. Or if it's more comfortable for you, then lengthen the legs long. And again, you may find that you just want to do that little action again of just lengthening the outer buttocks down. Soften the shoulder blades down into the mat. Draw the arms away from the body and feel like the outer arm bones are moving away from each other. And just create a little bit more space underneath the armpits. Back of the head is long, so the chin might feel slightly tucked, but you're not closing off the throat. And then let the eyes close gently. And we'll just spend a few moments just landing here on the mat. And as always, starting with that question, how am I doing this evening? What am I feeling here, now, in the moment? And what do I need to tend to in my practice? What do I need to nourish? What do I need to let go of? And then from here, turn the focus to your breath. And it might be nice to place your hands on your body to just feel where the breath is landing this evening. So it may be that you are aware of a gentle undulation of the belly as the diaphragm moves up and down. Or the breath may be further up into the rib cage. If you notice the ribs are moving dramatically up and away from the navel, can you maybe just focus for a little moment on drawing the ribs down as you breathe in, letting the belly expand, so that you're really focusing on using the primary muscles of breathing, the diaphragm, rather than the accessory muscles, which will work to lift the ribs up and away. It can get really tiring. So just focus on that dropping down, belly moving gently in and out. And using that focus on the breath to keep you present in the moment. And each time you've noticed that the mind's wandered off to what you've got to do after practice, what's happened in the run up to a time on your mat, just bring it back. That simple focus on the inhale and the exhale. And then let's take 3 shared breaths. We can't hear each other, but know that we're all breathing together. Take a breath in through the nose and then release out. 2 more like that. Breath in and breath out. 1 more. In and release out. And then close the lips. Gentle breathing in and out through the nose. If you like to practice with Ujjayi, that soft constriction at the back of the throat as you breathe in and out, then allow that to happen, but Make sure there's no force, so there's not a strong contraction. It's very gentle. There's that whispering sibilant sound. And then let's draw both knees into the chest. Hug them in. And while you're hugging them in, can you still feel the connection between the thigh bone and the pelvis? So it's easy to kind of draw the legs away and lose that. So feel like the legs are still sitting very much in the hip sockets. The sacrum is long, sits bones moving away from you. And then we'll drop the left foot down onto the mat and bring the hands around the back of the right thigh and just gently extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Keep the pelvis neutral here because the right hip point might want to lift up and away. Draw it back down. Feel a contraction on the outer right hip, length coming into the inner right thigh, inner right leg line. And then maybe a couple of times just working on pointing and flexing the ankle. Moving with your breath. And then a couple of rotations one way. As you do that, spread the toes. And then the other way. And then bend the knee into the chest again. Take hold of the top of the knee and just draw the right knee out towards the armpit. At the same time, keep the left leg straight. Don't let that roll out. Breathe here. Keep the front of the body soft. So it's like you're in a sort of a quarter happy baby. And then draw the knee back to center. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Gently draw the knee out to the side. And you might want to just lift the flesh away from the hip crease up towards the knee, just creating a little bit more space around the joint. And then from here, walk that left foot slightly more into the center. We're going to drop the right foot and both knees over to the left. We've been quite a strong stretch onto the outer left hip. So the right foot may come all the way down. It may not. Press the outer left hip down towards the floor and draw the right hip back. It will be off the floor, but just draw it back in towards the floor. It's not going to touch. For 3, for 2, for 1. Gently ease all the way back up. Draw the right knee into the chest, uncross the ankle, and then set the right foot down. And we'll take it on the other side. So just neutralize the pelvis again. Feel those sits bones drawing long towards the ankles. And then draw the left knee in towards the chest. And again, keep that connection between the thigh bone and the pelvis, so that hip socket, you're not drawing away. And then hands on the back of the left thigh, draw the foot up towards the ceiling. And as again, the tendency here might be for the pelvic rim to lift, keep pressing it down, just gently easing into the back of the leg. And then a few rounds of pointing and flexing through the ankle. And then some circles, one way and then the other. Draw the left knee in towards the chest. Left hand on top of the knee and draw the knee out towards the armpit. At the same time, keeping that right leg nice and square. Drawing the left hip crease down, even as you draw the armpit, the knee towards the armpit. Breathe here. Watch that tendency because the right leg is going to want to roll out. For 3, for 2, for 1. Draw the knee back to the center, cross the left ankle over the right knee. And again, that figure of 4 shape, creating a little bit of space around the hip socket. Breathing steadily. And then gently this time we're going to drop the left foot over towards the right, coming onto the pinky toe edge of the right foot, walking it slightly more into the center if that helps. Feeling a nice stretch onto the outside of the left hip this time. The left hip presses down towards the floor, right hip lengthens away. 3, for 2, for 1. Gently come back up to center, uncross the legs. And then we're going to take bridge pose. So set yourself up with the alignment that works for you. Before we lift up, again, just draw those sit bones long towards your ankles. Hands down by your sides. And then inhale, roll the spine away from the floor. And what I want you to focus on here is not so much of the spinal extension. We'll come into that, but can you feel like you're drawing your knees towards the front of your feet? So feeling the stretch through the front of the hip, through the quads. Holding it up. Maybe you can get a little bit higher. Don't let the knees roll out to the side, so there's a gentle pulling in of the inner thighs, but it's about length here through the front, through the hip. For 3, for 2, for 1. Gently bring yourself all the way back down. And then I want you to roll over onto your tummy. And once you're down on your tummy, bring your forehead down onto the mat. Hands down by your side. You may find that you want to bring your palms underneath your pelvis here, so kind of underneath the hips. It may be more comfortable. And then lift up the left leg and draw the big toe away from you. And then lift up the right leg and draw the right big toe away from you, so you create some space. And then we're going to lift one leg up at a time, so feel extension through the hip socket. So let's start off with the right leg, lifting it up, and then drawing the big toe away. Breathing, forehead can stay rested down. And then bring that right leg down. And then we'll do the same on the left leg. So pick the left leg up, draw the big toe away, hover the leg. And then set the left foot down. So we're going to take both legs up now into locust. So keep the forehead down, lift one leg up, and then lift the other leg up. As I say, if you've kind of got a bony pelvis, it helps to have the hands just cushioning. Draw the toes away, feel the muscles contracting and holding you. Imagine you've got a block in between the ankles and you're squeezing it in. If your legs naturally come together like the tail of a locust, then fine. For most of us, they won't. Breathe here. For 3, keep lengthening the feet away. For 2, for 1, gently release down. Take the hands away from under the pelvis. Bring the hands and turn the head to the side just to take a moment here. Good. And then we're going to lift the torso in our locust this time. So bring your hands down by your side and lift one leg and then the other and lengthen them away again. So keeping that action that you just experienced, lifting one leg and then the other. But we're going to keep the legs down and inhale, lift the torso. The torso doesn't need to lift very high. We need to think about the crown of the head reaching forward. And you're lifting and holding the posture, but not your breath. Find a position with your hands that's comfortable. They can either press onto the outer thighs, or you can even have them down, resting on the floor. When you're ready, exhale, come down, turn the opposite cheek onto the mat. If you have your hands touching down on the floor, the temptation is to use that to press and get some leverage. I want you to focus on using the muscles of the back here rather than the strength of the arms to lift you. We're going to do that one more time. So when you're ready, bring the forehead back into the center of the mat and gently extend the legs back, and then use an inhale to lift the torso. Think about the back of the neck it's part of the spine. So trying to keep that in line, which might mean looking down to the floor in front of you rather than looking up ahead. Holding here. Good. Nice lines, everyone, from what I can see. For 3, for 2, for 1, gently come down. Bring your hands in front of you, make a little pillow for the head. Maybe just roll the forehead from side to side to massage. If you want to bend the knees and windscreen wiper the legs from side to side, that can feel quite nice. And then when you're ready, gently bring your hands underneath your shoulders and bring yourself up to tabletop. And in your tabletop, just start to mobilize the spine through flexion as well as extension. So maybe taking some cats and cows, or just some barrel rolls, or anything that brings some movement into the spine, all the different bits of the spine as well, while we've just been working on opening through the front body and contracting the back body. Couple more rounds. Good. And then when you're ready, come back to stillness again. And take your right leg out behind you, come onto the ball of the foot. Engage the arms. So I want you to feel like the upper arm bones are moving away from each other. So you're really broad across the shoulders. And then very slowly lift the right leg. Again, that right hip might want to roll out. Can you draw it down? Can you keep the inner leg line long? Press back through the heels, or the heel, I should say. Make sure the jaw is relaxed. Make sure the back of the neck is long. Crown of the head reaching forward, holding here, building some heat, building some strength. And then could you bend the knee, sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, and then can you lift that knee a little bit higher? And maybe this time coming in a little bit more of a cow shape through the front body. Collarbones are broad, upper arms are moving away. And then maybe some little pulses here. So they're slow raises of the knee, and you're only raising it a centimetre or so. Nice and slowly. Everything should be getting pretty warm on that right leg now. One more breath. And then straighten the right leg out, come down onto the ball of the foot, press the heel away, and then come back to your tabletop. And then just take a wiggle, a move, a cat and cow between sides. So from here, we're going to take the left leg out behind you, and then nice and slowly lift it up. Again, press out through the heel. Draw the upper arm bones away from each other, so you keep the upper back, the shoulders nice and broad. Front body is relaxed, so don't tighten the solar plexus. Inner line of the leg is long, and then you're going to bend the knee, stovepipe the leg, and then those slow lifts. And then maybe coming to stillness and just raising the front of the torso, broaden the collarbones into a slightly deeper back bend. And then bring that leg down. Again, just a little wiggle. And from here, set yourself up for down dog. So curl the toes under and extend back. Feet don't need to touch or the heels don't need to touch the ground. Again, keep moving the upper arms away, keep broadening across the shoulders, paddling the feet, bending the knees, doing what you need to do. And then coming into stillness, we're going to very slowly raise the right leg up towards the ceiling. And then rounding forward, as if you're coming into plank, bend that right knee, bring it forward towards the nose. And inhale, lift it up again. Exhale, round forwards. Slowly bring the knee in the direction of the nose. One last time. Inhale up. Round forward. Hold the leg up. Don't hold the breath. And then gently land that right foot. And come down onto the left knee, top of the left foot. Pad the left knee if you need to. Walk the fingertips forward. Lift the arms parallel. And use an in-breath, imagining it breathing into the armpits to get some space. Good. Make sure that you're pressing down into that front ankle and feel the front heel and the front of the right ankle is lifting up. So you're not collapsing into the ankle. From here, we're going to take our arms out to the side. And then squeezing the inner shoulder blades in towards each other. Not so that you start to kind of flare out through the ribs. Once you've got that, feel as if the middle finger is lifting up, but you're not lifting your shoulders. Now the crown of the head lifts up, and then we start to draw back into a little bit of a back bend. But you're not doing that by just sticking your bust forward. So there's an inhale, there's a lengthening through the spine, little bit of a back bend in the thoracic spine. So lengthening out of the lower back. Still really strong through the legs. For 3, for 2, for 1. Gently come forward. Inhale, reach up through the armpits, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down either side of the front foot. Come back, lift the back knee into your plank. And then we're going to end up on our bellies. So your choice of how you want to get there, whether you want to take a full chaturanga or a 3/4 chaturanga, but come down onto your bellies and then slide your forearms forward and lift yourself up into Sphinx pose. And then again, in your Sphinx pose, lift one leg, lengthen it back behind you. Lift the other leg, lengthen it back behind you. Press the forearms down into the mat and feel like the elbows are drawing into the body. That will allow you to lift up through the torso, solar plexus. Feel the outer arms moving away from each other to get broad across the collarbone. Breathe here. And then gently release down, slide the hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself back to down dog. And then straight away, we're going to inhale the left leg up, nice and slowly. And as you exhale, round forward, knee towards nose. Inhale up, knee to nose. One more. Knee to nose, hold it there. And then set the leg down, back knee down. Walk the hands forward, lift the arms parallel with the floor, and then breathe under the armpits to lift yourself all the way up. Engage the pelvis with the legs. Press down through the heel of the front foot, front ankle lifts. So this time we're going to take our hands behind us, either grabbing hold of elbows or wrists or interlacing the hands. Hands move away, so the outer triceps roll in towards each other. And again, thinking about that point right in the middle of the chest, that's lifting up and then it may move back a little bit. Hardly does at all for me. So another way of doing this is to put your hands on your ribs, and there's a lift up of the ribs and then a lift back. In fact, that might be nice if we all do it on this side. So bring your hands around your rib cage, and as you inhale, you can feel, and you can just give yourself an assist to lift the ribs up. And then as you exhale, you can support the back of the ribs into a little bit of a deeper bend. You can inhale length and then exhale back. It's going to help us a lot in our peak pose that we're going to end up in. And then support the back as you bring yourself up. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands either side of the front foot. Take yourself back to a plank. And then from there, your choice how you get down onto your belly. Whichever route you take, just make sure that you're managing your form. And then if you want to take Sphinx, if that felt comfortable for you, stay with Sphinx, or bring your hands underneath your shoulders and lift yourself up into a cobra. But still keeping that sense of a lengthening through the legs, creating space in the lumbar spine. Couple of breaths here. And then gently release all the way down and bring yourself back to down dog. And then once you're in down dog, we're going to lift the right leg up again, nice and slowly. And again, let's curl it forward, knee to nose. And then slowly take it up again. So we're not swinging the leg around using momentum, there's control here. Exhale, round forward. Last time, inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring the knee forward so that you land it in between the hands, staying up on the ball of the back foot. Slowly bring yourself up into your crescent lunge. So we're going to take this into a slightly twisted, do we need to do that? Yes, we will do. So we're going to keep the left arm up, and you're going to circle the right arm behind you and find either your right, your left butt cheek or the left thigh. Inhale, reach up through the left fingertips, and then exhale, fingertips draw back behind you. Again, you're lifting out of the lower back, you're lifting up through the ribs. So remember that action that we just had down in our low lunge. Lift up and back. And you can track with your eyes, finger to the left fingertips, or you may prefer to keep your gaze straight forward, depending on how the neck's feeling. But feel that lift. Feel the sensation in the chest. It's not always a comfortable feeling to be this open, but breathe. Can you lift up a little bit high, get a little bit more expansion, a little bit more movement back. One more breath here. And then slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself back up. Bring the right hand up to join the left. And then slowly bring them either side of the front foot. Make your way back onto your belly. And then your choice. So Sphinx, Cobra, or Up Dog. But we're working up to, probably hopefully guessed, we're working up towards a peak posture that's a back bend. So maybe Cobra is better than Up Dog for where we're going. But make your way back to Down Dog. No rush to get there. Breathe into your extension, so your Cobra, your Sphinx, or your Up Dog. And then in your Down Dog, just take a moment to feel in. Feel like those upper arm bones are moving away, so you're creating lots of space on the upper back. And then we'll take it on the other side. So you're going to lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Lift it tall, lift it high. Good. Bend the knee, roll it forwards. And then slowly take the leg up again. Good. Let's take it forward. Roll it forward with control. Nice work, everyone. Inhale it up. And then last time, bring the left foot forward, bring it in between the hands, staying up on the ball of the back foot, and slowly rising up. So this time the right hand stays up, left hand comes onto the right butt cheek or slides down onto the thigh. Right fingertips lift up towards the ceiling and then gently tracking back. Again, inhale and exhale back. Inhale up and exhale back. Pretty strong stretch on the front of that right hip as you're doing that. Couple more breaths. And then gently bring yourself up square. Right hand comes up or left hand comes up to join right. And then slowly bring your hands down either side of the front foot. Make your way down onto your belly. Take a couple of breaths in the extension here, whichever version you're doing. So think of this in terms of creating space and length through the front body rather than just ratcheting into the lower back. Good. We'll meet in down dog. And then from your down dog, bend your knees and walk your feet towards your hands at the front of the mat. So into a gentle forward fold, knees bent as much as they need to, crown of the head reaching down. Really press the weight into the heels, feel the front of the ankles lifting, and slowly come all the way up to stand. Good, standing into Tadasana. So rooting through the feet, we're going to come into a standing back bend, and then we're going to take it down onto the floor into working with camel. So let's just start off having hands around the rib cage and finding that gentle elongation, pelvis connecting into legs. Inhale, there's a lift up. So you're not lifting the shoulders, it's a lift up of the rib cage. As the rib cage lifts, keep the pelvis connected to the leg, so you're not sort of separating here. So lifting up through the rib cage, and then take your thumbs onto the back of the ribs, and then just gently guide the rib cage back. So you're not necessarily coming into a massive back bend here. Inhale, lift up, and then guide. So it's almost like you're rotating the rib cage back. As you do that, keep pressing equally into the balls and the heel of the foot, so you're not rocking the weight forward or back. Couple more. Inhale, lift up and back. One more. Good. And then the gaze can be up to the ceiling, or keep the gaze straight forward if that's more comfortable on your neck. One more breath here. And then gently allow yourself to rise. Good. So second option, bring your hands into the small of the back. So same principle, but we're just using the hands for support here. So inhale, lift up through the ribs, and exhale, the rib cage is drawing back. Inhale, use the hands to create space through the lumbar region of the spine, so you're not just kind of hinging in that mobile area. Keep lifting up and back. Legs are working strongly here as well. Ground you, to hold you. Couple more breaths. And then use the hands to really support you. Press down to the feet, keep grounded. Bring yourself back up to vertical. So 2 more variations. If at any point where we get to is strong enough for you, then stick with that variation, stick with the sensations. Next variation, you're going to bring your hands behind your head and drop the back of your head into the support of the hands. Draw the elbows up. So the elbows, eventually, we're going to try and get them up to the ceiling. So we're going to drop the head, feel it supported, lift the elbows up. And then the ribs start to move back, feeling that stretch of the front body, but keep relaxing the back of the head into the hands, keep relaxing the jaw. What tends to happen is we tend to get really tense. So breathing here, and you're feeling that gentle arch into the thoracic spine. There's not a huge amount of movement here because all the ribs are attached. But just feel, so it's much more of an opening through the front body. Let the head release into the hands. For 3, 2, 1. Use the back of the palms to support the head, bring it all the way back up. And then the last variation is to bring the arms up overhead. If your shoulders are okay, you can bring the hands together and take Kali Mudra. So interlace the fingers, index finger pointing, thumbs crossed. You guys can see that. Or if there's a little bit of tightness in the shoulders, have the hands apart. This is really strong. I don't particularly like doing this, but I just want to show you because I know some of you are going to have nice mobile backs. So lifting the arms up. Again, feel like you're breathing into the armpits, lifting the middle finger, rib cage is lifting, and then coming back. And you're trying to keep your arms in line with your ears. So they're not further back behind, they're not in front. As I say, I'm not wildly keen on this one. It's strong. And I can start to feel this pressing into my SI joint. So really focusing on the thoracic lift. I can have a look at you guys. For 3, for 2, for 1, and then gently bring yourself up. And then just bring your hands, let's place one hand onto the heart and one hand onto the belly. Just close your eyes and breathe. That was so weird, Hannah. I had a moment there because I didn't realize you'd got shorts on and I thought you were doing a handstand because I can't see your head. That's really funny. So just breathe. Get rooted, get grounded, because when we do these half opening, these back bends, just need to keep grounded from an energetic point of view. Good. And then open your eyes. We're going to come down onto our knees because we're going to take camel now. So essentially what we've been doing with the thoracic spine, but in the kneeling position. This can be quite strong on the knees. So if you're on a hard floor, so Joe in your kitchen, rather than on carpet, you might want to double or treble your mat over just to give you a bit of support and softness. So the other thing that can be quite useful in camel pose, because a couple of things. One of them is to just have a block or a book. It's not essential at all, but it just gives you a bit of feedback. To make sure that the inner thighs are engaging, not so that you're gripping so hard that you can really feel the muscles tighten, but it just gives you something to kind of hold on to, but not grip. So if you start to squeeze in and you can see everything tensing, you're holding it too hard. The other thing is to start with the toes curled under, because that's going to bring the heels up higher. So we're going to go through some progressive variations here. So the first one, let's start with the hands. Well, actually, let's start with the hands on the ribs again, just so that you can really feel. So hopefully your hands are big enough that they can, thumbs around the back, fingers on the front. And then keeping the pelvis connected to the legs, so we're not separating it away. Inhale, lift the rib cage up. And then as you exhale, you can use those thumbs to then draw the rib cage back. What we're not doing is just dropping the whole body back in a straight line. We're keeping the hips forward. So we're lifting out of the lower back, lifting up through the ribs, and then drawing the rib cage back. And it may not look very much at all, but it might feel quite strong. Upper arm bones are moving away from each other to keep broad breadth across the chest. For 3, 2, 1. Slowly use your hands to support you to bring yourself back up to vertical. And then before we take the next variation, just take a moment in this linear upright line. And as always, work at your level. So if that felt interesting and that you could feel work going on, you want to explore, then repeat that. Next variation is to have the hands, just as we did in standing, on the lower back, squeezing the inner elbows together. Draw the sit bones down, feel that slight engagement of the inner thighs. Inhale, lift up through the ribs, and then start to draw back. You're not leaning back, so the hip points staying forward, squeezing and lifting. So every lift, and it's quite hard to lift when you're this stretched, but keep breathing. As I say, it doesn't necessarily look much if you're looking at me. It looks like hardly anything at all. Don't have a very deep back bend. For 3, for 2, for 1. Really support yourself, bring yourself back up to vertical. So third variation is coming into a fuller camel using the arms. So just to demo, start off with the hands in the same position, and then you'll take one hand, bring it forward, lift it up, and then take it back behind you. So kind of like we did in the high lunge, and you'll catch hold of the top of the foot, the top of the heel. But as you do that, your shoulder's going to curl to the side, draw it back to center. The other arm then lifts up, comes back down, and we're into center. Oops. And again, pelvis is coming forward, rib cage is lifting up before it lifts back. So it's not just a draw back. That may be too strong, just stick with any of the other variations. So have a go with the toes curled under and the ankle high, and then we can have a play for anyone who wants to come to the lower version. So think about that pelvis staying neutral. So it's going to feel like you're having to push it forward as you lift back, but it's actually just staying over the knees. The thigh bone is staying nice and vertical. Breathing in. And as I say, there is no reason to try and catch the feet if you're feeling like you're getting this big expansion with the hands in the lower back. It's not going to add anything. Focus on the lift and the expansion of the thoracic spine. Lovely. And then upper arm bones are moving away from each other, even as you're holding the tops of your feet to get broad across the chest. Good. And then very slowly come up and then sit down on your thighs and bring your bottom down onto your heels. Unless that's not comfortable. If that's not comfortable, then just sit down. I just want you to take a moment grounding. We're going to do one more variation. So obviously when you are catching your heels, when your toes are curled under, it's a lot higher. So the final variation, and I'm not sure I'm warm enough to show, is with the feet flat on the floor. So same principle, going to lift up and back, and the heels a lot lower now to catch hold of. Center the chest again, other arm comes up, comes around, and you can see I've started to lean back, so I really need to focus on keeping my hips over my knees, and then you get the big kind of stretch onto the front of the quads. So think of that in terms of bridge pose, as we practiced at the beginning. If it's comfortable, you can you can gently guide the neck back. You can also support the back of the head with the hands, just as we did in standing. That can be quite nice as well. So have a play. If you've had enough, then just come and sit down either on your heels or sit cross-legged in a way that's comfortable, because this is quite strong work. And just when you come out and you sit down, and actually in the pose as well, just notice how the breath feels. Because for me, quite often actually in the pose, it's quite hard particularly in camel, to breathe really fully. When it comes out, that's when I feel sort of the energy rush, if you like. So take it slowly. I think we're all out. And then from here, I want you to come up and come to standing. Just going to neutralize the back bend with a couple of standing poses rather than coming straight into a forward fold. So we'll take warrior two. So nice long stance, really strong through the legs, pressing through the back heel. And so the foot's neutral, you're not rolling into the ankle or rolling into the outer foot. Nice deep bend in front leg, nice neutral spine, and then just extend the arms. Reach, feel the breath coming under the armpits, looking along the front arm. And then keeping the pelvis and the legs exactly as they are. Lean forward on an in-breath, flip the palm, and reverse your warrior. To feel the stretch through the side body now. That inner back thigh lifting, not collapsing down. For 3, for 2, for 1, gently come back to warrior 2. And we'll go straight to the other side. So turn the right foot parallel with the short side of the mat. Left foot turns to the back of the mat, becomes the front of the mat. Adjust the right leg, turn the right foot in more if you need to, and come into your warrior 2 on the opposite side. Again, not rolling in onto that ankle, so pressing to the back heel. Strong in your arms. Feel those upper arm bones moving away from each other. Breath coming into the armpits. For 3, for 2, for 1. Inhale, lean forward, flip your palm, and then reverse. So right arm down the outside of the right thigh, reverse your warrior. Inhale, back to warrior 2, looking along the middle of the front hand. And then straight leg. Bring both feet parallel with the short side of the mat. Adjust your stance. We'll come into a forward fold now. So hands on hips. Press through the middle of the heel of the feet and onto the big toe and onto the little toe. And then take an inhale. And as you exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly fold down. Let the spine release, let the crown of the head reach down. And then the hands can be in any position. They can grab hold of ankles. They can rest down on the floor. Feel the inner line of the legs long, the outer thighs shorter. Oh, they're contracting down, reaching down to the floor, so the outside of the legs. Breathing here. For 3, for 2, for 1. Inhale, come up halfway, come onto fingertips, and then toe heel the feet in into your squat position. And then as you exhale, come down through a squat. Again, watch the tendency to roll in on the ankles, sitting up tall, thinking about the front of the feet being, or the front of the ankles being long. If squatting is not comfortable for you, then don't worry, we're going to meet on our bottoms. From here, rest down on your bottom and bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana. If when you come into this position, you can feel this rounding into the lower back, I would rather you sat, come here, block, on something to lift the pelvis, to allow you to be spacious. And then the soles of the feet together, knees moving out to the side. Arm bones nice and broad so the collarbone is wide. And just let the weight of the knees start to open up through the inner groins. Let the breath move through the body. Two more breaths here. And then gently slide the hands on the outside of the knees and then extend the legs forward. So we're going to take Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Again, sitting on a block just to raise the pelvis if there's this rounding going on. A little bit of a bend in the knees if the hammies are tight, but we're wanting to bring some length into the hamstrings after they were contracting in our camel pose. So inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, start to lean forward, keeping the straight line as much as possible. Start to feel the stretch through the backs of the legs, and then allow the hands to come down. Fingertips resting wherever they land, so don't worry if it's close to the knees or close to the ankles. Take an inhale, lengthen through the front body again, and then keeping that length, exhale and start to come into the forward fold. And then at some point, you'll need to round down. And then you may find that if the knees are bent, they straighten a little bit more. And just breathe into that space that you're creating. And breathe into the back ribs. So they're rounding forward now, in the opposite orientation to the camel. For 3, for 2, for 1. And then slowly on an inhale, use your hands to support the torso as it comes back upright. If you're sitting on something, just pop off, move the block to the side. Make sure that you're far enough forward on your mat that you aren't going to run out of space. And then gently on an exhale, lower down to land all the way down on your back. Take it slowly. And then once you're all the way down, draw your knees to the chest, hug them in. And if it feels nice to just draw some circles with the knees or just gently rock from side to side, take a moment to do that. And then we'll take the arms either wide of the body with the palms facing up, or if space is a bit restricted, then turn the hands into goalposts. And we'll take a gentle supine twist this time. So gently drop the knees over to the left. Don't worry if they don't come all the way down. Focus on keeping the right shoulder down. And then breathe into the right rib cage or the side ribs. Feel the expansion and contraction. And then inhale, knees up to center. And exhale, take them over to the other side, nice and gently. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Lift your head and shoulders up, curl into a little ball, give yourself a hug. And then we're going to set up for rest pose. So if anybody wants to turn the camera off or leave the meeting to allow themselves longer, I'm going to hold you in Shavasana for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But by all means, please turn your camera off. If you're staying with me, then wrap yourself up, blanket, socks, whatever you need so that you can stay warm, stay cozy. Everyone's down. And then once you're lying down, take a long breath in through the nose. Hold the breath at the top and then sigh it out through the mouth. Let it go. 2 more. Breath in. Hold and release. And then 1 more. Breath in. Hold. Take an extra sip of air. Open the mouth and let it go. Then let the lips come together. Let the breath become super gentle. Feel a sense of dropping down into your body. All of that energy that has been moved around through the back bending or front body opening, just let that settle down now. And come to external stillness. And that may allow you to feel an internal movement pulsing. So if you want to stay longer in your Shavasana, then stay longer. If you are ready to move, we're just over the hour, start to bring some gentle movement into fingers and toes. Gentle wiggles. And then maybe if you've got space, draw the arms overhead or take them out to the sides. Take a big, long, full body stretch. Lengthen everything out. Any other movements that you want to do. And then when you're ready, bring yourself over onto your side. And then from your side, bring yourself up. Nice and slowly into a comfortable seat, whatever that is. And then eyes softly gazing down to the floor or at the horizon if you've got a nice view, or let them be closed. Upper arm bones still moving away so the shoulders are broad, space under the armpits. Back of the head is long, neck is soft and relaxed. Tongue is down in the base of the mouth so the jaw's not closed. Feel the breath moving through the body. Feel the breath moving into the back of your heart. Allowing that to be accessible from all of the work we've been doing, opening. And then from that place, draw the hands together at heart center, draw thumbs into sternum, bow the head, take a moment to acknowledge your practice, sharing it with others. As always, it's been a pleasure and an honor to lead you. Thumb knuckles to forehead center. Thank you. Namaste.